Hi friends, it's Susie from the Speckled Loon. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome for the first time. I'm so glad you're here and you're joining us. Today we are going to go ahead and do some spring things. Even though Mother Nature still thinks it's winter here in North Dakota. In April we have had 3 blizzards so far. We've got 1 more on the way. So I'm hoping after that she's going to lose her grip and we will get to celebrate spring. In the meantime, I'm going to be crafting spring things and bringing you a new DIY decor kit that is our honey and bee themed DIY decor kit. So more spring and summer related. Get us out of our winter funk and in the mood to do some spring projects. So that's what we are going to do today. If you like what you see, if you would consider giving this video a like and subscribing to my channel, I would appreciate it. I like to bring a new kit every month and I have the instructions here on YouTube so you can use the link to purchase the kit. I've got all the items to make the kit linked down there too that I use, and we can craft together and have our own little spring crafting party. So I appreciate you joining me today, and let's head on over to the craft room and let's do some spring and summer DIY crafts. Let's go. Let's go over the items that you are going to receive in your kit. When it arrives, it should arrive via USPS. And it will be in a little box like this. There'll be some instructions for you to set aside and refer to later. And each project is individually packaged to keep the pieces together. You're going to want to open up each package and just make sure you've got everything included. If you don't, my email's down below. Give me a message and I'll get back to you. So the first thing we're going to do is go by step. We will have our bee sign that you will make. Then our honey pot sign that you'll paint and make and use a couple of bees from the Decor pack. And the next one is the Beehive sign that you will paint. And again, you're going to use some of the little bees that come in your Decor pack. And then the Gnome, and you will paint him. He comes with a little bee that he holds. And then out of the Decor pack, there's the little honey pot that will sit in his hands. And you also use a bee on his hat if you want. And then we have got the beaded garland that comes with all the beads, the string and tassel, ribbon, and then the teardrop base for you to paint and assemble. And those are the projects that come in your kit and we will be going over today. Let's go over some of the items that you are going to need to complete your projects. First of all, I like to use the Waverly chalk paint from Walmart. It's widely available. If they don't have the Waverly brand, they have another one that's very similar. I used a curry yellow that's in the bottle there, and then I used white and black and a couple of different browns. For small accent pieces, some people prefer the little acrylic paint markers you can get. I got mine from Arteza. I will leave a link down below. And then you can also use, if your climate allows, spray paint. I live in a colder climate, so I cannot use spray paint all the time. But that's a reasonable alternative as well, and I use either the Krylon brand or that Rust-Oleum chalked spray paint that works really well. You will also want maybe a small art brush for some details, a small foam brush or 2 for each color, and then these little makeup wedges that from the Dollar Tree that work actually very well for applying paint. And then you will want to grab some different types of glue. There's this gel super glue from the Dollar Tree that works really well. Some people want a slower setting up glue. You can use wood glue with Q-tips or toothpicks to apply in the small areas. And I'll show you some little clamps that I use. And I prefer to use the Starbond glue with the fine applicator tip. That's what I use when I'm mass producing things for my craft fairs. These are the little clamps that you can get at the Dollar Tree. You can get a 6-pack of them. And they're nice for holding pieces together while the glue dries. You're going to want to have some baby wipes for cleanup and cleaning the paint up off the edges, a pair of scissors for trimming ribbon and string, some Q-tips and toothpicks, a little bit of painter's tape, and then it's always nice to have a couple of paper plates on hand for mixing plates or just protecting your work surface and working on the paper plates. It is time for project number 1, our Faux Shiplap bee sign. For this project, this is what you're going to start out with. Then you'll paint it and put it together and put it on this little stand at the end. And that's the 3 stages of your project. I'm going to show you how to paint everything in this particular project, and then we'll be using the same techniques throughout. And then I'll show you how to assemble each project as well. But I'm just going to show you how to paint one time to cut down on the time of the video. So the first thing that you want to do is just double check that you've got all your pieces. You've got your base, your bee stripes, the bee, and the little wings that go with it. I use this curry yellow on the bee stripes. I use the ink black paint on the actual bee, and I use the white on the shiplap base and the wings. And the wings also have an adhesive backing on them, so they are peel and stick. You're going to want glue for the rest of your pieces for when you glue the bee on. And you're going to want to have some little makeup sponges and your little clamps handy. And then you will want to have a scissor, possibly, and your brushes of various sizes. I like to do my painting on a paper plate. I use the foam brush and the white for the shiplap base. You're going to want to have a Q-tip handy, and what you do is you dip it in and you just kind of lightly apply. You don't want to glob it on. I always do 2 coats of white anyway, so if I don't get great coverage on the first coat, I don't really worry about it. I kind of go edge to edge and try to keep it off the edges. Then I take a toothpick and I drag it right across where that line is. And then you'll see the lines appear a little better and it gets any clumps of paint out. And you can wipe your toothpick off between times. And this is what it looks like after 1 coat. The other one shows 2 coats. The next thing you can do is wrap your brush up in a baby wipe to keep it nice and wet so you can use it for something else. You can also do saran wrap. What I'm doing here is I am taping some tape down, painter's tape, sticky side up, and then I'm using other pieces of tape to tape it down. And then I'm just using my little sponge dabber or a fine art brush to paint the top of each wing. And I'm just going to use a baby wipe here in a few seconds to wipe off any excess that I maybe got on the sides. If I don't want the sides to appear white, I want to keep them that crisp edge. If you want to paint your sides, by all means go ahead. I just like the look of the dark edge on my pieces. So I'm just carefully applying that and setting those aside. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and clear off my brush so I can use it for future things, put my white paint away. Then I'm going to stick the bee down on that tape, sticky side up, and I'm going to use a makeup sponge. And there's always a little paint in the lid. That's what I like to use. I'm just going to dab that on all over the bee. And again, if I miss any spots, I can go over with a second coat. But likely on the black, you might only need 1 coat. There's always really good coverage. The last thing I'm going to paint are the 3 bee stripes. I put those on the adhesive tape, squeeze out a little bit of that curry paint, just trim off a little bit of a makeup sponge so I have a small area to paint with, and put the paint on those strips, and then we are done. Again, that's what they look like fully painted. And now it is time to start putting together everything. You're going to want to let your paint completely dry on everything. And the first thing you're going to do is decide how you want that bee. I like it kind of on the diagonal. And then I did a dry fit on everything to make sure it's going to fit, because the wings fit on a certain side. So you're going to want to do that. Here's how you can use the wood glue if you want. You're going to take your plate, just put a little bit of it on the plate because it takes a long time to dry, and then you just will swipe a little bit on with a Q-tip or a toothpick. If you don't do that, it will ooze out. I like to use a little bit of wood glue, and then I surround it by super glue. That way you get like an instant bond and a good permanent bond altogether. I press it down, and then I'm going to take my little clamps and just kind of hold it down with the clamps. And next I'm going to, you can use either wood glue or just super glue on those little yellow strips. You're going to want to put those in first before the wings because they go underneath. Or you can put a little bit of wood glue in each little slot and then just put your stripes in the corresponding slot. They're each 3 different sizes, so it's easy to tell where each one goes. Here again, I'm going to just dry fit each wing before I peel off the adhesive backing and then get them on, and it's sticky on there once you peel that off. And I just kind of line it up, and then I press it down to secure it. And then I do the same thing on the other side. I just dry fit it to make sure I'm on the right spot and see where I want to be. I go ahead and remove the adhesive backing. Takes a minute for me. I have no fingernails. And then I adhere the second wing on. And then your bee sign is complete. And all you need to do now is put together the little slotted base for the sign. It's these two little pieces right here. There's a slot on the bottom and a slot in the top. You just slide them together, and then you have your bee sign stand. And our first project for the kit is complete. Our next project is the honey pot for our tiered tray display. So this is how it starts out, and then that's what it looks like painted and assembled. And we're going to use a couple of bees from our decor pack. I used markers on the honey drip and the word honey, and I used a sponge dauber in hazelnut on the actual pot itself. And I drug the toothpick through the wet paint just like we did on the previous spot to create those lines that are already there. It also comes with a little stand, and I'll show you how to do that. Here again, I did 2 coats of the hazelnut on the pot. Use the markers on the accents, and then I'm going to use the marker on the handle. I'm just using a black paint marker. If you don't have a paint marker, you could even use a Sharpie for this part. I just wanted it to have a different color. And then putting it together is so easy. You're going to take the honey drip and remove the adhesive backing on it. And then I like to line it up into the very top middle of that pot. And then your honey drip is on there. Going to repeat the process by removing that adhesive backing on the word honey. And once that is removed, you're going to take the word honey and put that and press it down as straight as you can in the middle of the honey pot. And you'll just press that down. That adhesive backing is quite permanent. Then you're going to take a little of the 2 little bees from the decor pack. They have an adhesive backing as well, and put them on. Then you're done decorating. Then it's time to adhere the little stand. You're going to take that little slot, and you're going to take that little pie wedge piece. You're going to line that up to the very bottom middle of the pot, and then make a little mark on that slot so you know where it goes. You're going to apply a little bit of glue all around that slot, and then you're going to line your marks back up and press that on and let your glue dry. And then once your glue is dry, you're going to take that little pie piece with the curved side up and the flat side down, and then that is how your stand works. And if you angle the stand a bit, it does stand better, and your honey pot project is complete. I'd like to thank you for sticking with us this far through all these projects. If you like what you see, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel. We also are on social media. The Speckled Loon is on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and of course YouTube. Feel free to click the links below to follow us. Also, if you would like to support our channel, you can also shop thespeckledloon.com. Just go over there, click shop, and you'll see everything that we have for sale, including whatever I'm currently offering for DIY kits. I usually have 1 or 2 kits up at a time, and you can shop them and give these projects a try if you would like to make something yourself. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now back to the projects. Our next project is our Beehive project, and we are going to show it to you what it comes like unfinished. This is what it looks like painted. This is what it looks like painted and assembled. We do use a couple of bees from the decor pack, and it has a little stand as well. We'll show you how to put that on. And what I did was I painted the Beehive base in the curry yellow, and I painted the overlay piece there in white, and I did the brown door and the heart in brown as well, called Truffle brown. You can use whatever colors you want, of course. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the very back of this overlay. The overlay stripes are very thin, so you just want very small bits of glue. And then once you have all the glue assembled, you're going to stand up both pieces on a flat surface and line them up, and then press them together to adhere, just like this. And you're just going to want to make sure it fits edge to edge, top to bottom. Then you can put a couple of clamps on it, top and bottom, or side to side, or on all four sides if you want. It just helps adhere everything together. Then I'm putting a little bit of glue inside where the door goes and a little bit of glue on the back of the door, and I'm pressing that down. And then I'm putting a little bit of glue on the back of the heart. That's going to go right over that white heart space on the hive, and that part of putting it together is complete. We'll put some bees on it in a minute, but it helps to put the stand on while it's all nice and flat. So you're going to line that long piece of the stand, the slanted side, toward the hive, and you're going to want to line it up towards the bottom of the hive and right in the middle. You're going to put the slotted piece right over that, and then I again am going to take a marker and make a little mark on the slot and on the back of the hive, so I know where to put it once I glue it. I put my glue on the slot, line my little dots up again, and then I'm going to slide the slanted part in, and that part is done. Next, I just flip it over, and those bees each have a little adhesive part backing to detach. I did one of each size, 2 on the heart and 1 on the door, and that project is complete. It's time to make our bee gnome. For this project, this is what it looks like out of the kit. This is what it looks like painted. This is what it looks like painted and assembled. He holds a little bee that is removable, and you can replace that with the honey pot. He also has a little bee on the top of his head that is from the Decor pack as well. He also has a little stand on the back, just like our hive, and we will go over on how to attach that at the end of the project. But for now, we're going to go over what colors I used. I used white on his beard. I used black on his hat and the bee and his suit. I used the curry yellow on the base as well as his shoes, and I just used that hazelnut light brown on his nose and his hands. If you will notice on the base, it is etched out kind of where everything needs to be placed. It kind of disappears behind your paint. That's fine. You just need it faintly visible when you start gluing. I always start with the hat first because everything lines up like a puzzle, and if you get the hat on right, then everything lines up just perfectly. So you're going to want to get that hat on there, make sure it's top to bottom, side to side, all lined up and flush. The next thing I like to do is the beard. You can use whatever kind of glue you want, just a little bit here and there, all over. You're going to want to dry fit that nose first, and then I go ahead and I just put glue right inside that slot where the nose goes, adhere it. Then I put a little glue on the back of his little suit and fit that right around the beard and make sure from side to side that is all lined up. Then I go ahead and make sure I have the shoes in the right spot, put a little glue on the back of each shoe or on the base, and then adhere the shoes and line them up. Next, we are going to do the little spacers on the hands. They go right in on the suit. There's a little edged out spot where they go, a little semicircle. Again, it'll be kind of hidden by your paint, but you'll see it. You're just going to put a little glue on the back of each of those little semicircle spacers and align them up to their corresponding marked spot on the suit. And those are going to elevate your hands so that your gnome can hold the bee or it can hold that little honey pot. And once the spacers are on, I like to take the bee and put it in between so my hands have something to rest on. I put just glue on the very bottom of the hands and line up with the spacer so it covers the spacer from the bottom of the hand. And then the top part of the hand doesn't have any glue on it, the part that touches the bee. And then I just press down, but it helps to have the bee there to keep those hands elevated. Next, we are going to do our stand just like we did with our beehive. You're going to align that long skinny piece in the middle and bottom of your gnome. Put the slot piece over it. Then you are going to hold that in place and just make a quick mark on the slotted piece and on the back of the sign so you know where to line them up. Put a little glue on that slot, line it up with that dot, and then that is ready to go. And then you just take the slanted part of your base and put it toward the back of the gnome, and that's how it will stand up. But before you do that, you're going to want to take one of your little bees and put it on the hat. And then you can put your bee inside there for him to hold, or the honey pot. And this project is complete. It is time to make our bee beaded garland. And this is what it comes to you as. This is what it looks like painted, and this is what it looks like complete. I used curry yellow on the teardrop base, and I used black on the actual bee and hive overlay. And then you string all your beads and attach them to the base, and this project's pretty simple to complete. So the first thing you're going to do once your paint dries is you are going to take that black overlay piece with the bee and the hive, and you're going to put your glue on the back of it in various places, then stand them up and line them up, and line it up top to bottom, edge to edge. Just clamp it and set it aside and let it dry. You're going to want to sort your beads. You've got these two bigger log beads. They look like pieces of a log. Those are going to be first. Then you've got a group of 5 white beads, 5 black and white beads, 5 yellow and black beads, some natural beads, and 5 yellow beads. You're just going to sort those all out. Then you're going to figure out what order you want them in. This is the order that I chose. I went with white, black and white, black, yellow and black, natural, and then the 5 yellow beads. In the 5 yellow beads, each one has a different pattern on it. Yours should be similar. If it's different, you will have 5 groups of 6 different types of beads, basically, when you're done. And then your tassel comes with the string already attached. You're just going to want to unwind that string. And then at the it's attached to the tassel, and at the other end is attached a toothpick for stringing it with a little piece of tape. You're going to want to take your first log bead, string that through, and bring it all the way so it meets the very top of the tassel, just like that. Then you're going to start putting on your beads in courses. So you're going to do course 1 with the white one, then your black and white one, your black bead, your yellow and black checked bead, the natural bead, and then the yellow bead at the end. And this is what it looks like with one course attached. And then you're going to string on your second course, your third course, your fourth course, and then the last set. And that's what it looks like when all your beads are on. Then you're going to want to take your other log bead and put that right at the end. The next thing you're going to do is just remove your clamps from the teardrop base. I go from the back to the front. I loop it around the string in the back again, and then I go from the front to the back. And that just kind of gives it a nice secure anchoring to that teardrop base. Then I take my string and I feed it back up through the log bead and a couple more beads. And what that does, it's going to give us an area where we're going to tie it on, and we can hide that knot and then have your string nice and secure, and it should not come off. So once I get it through where I want, I go ahead and snip the excess, and I'm going to set that aside because we're going to use that on our next project for the bonus decor. So what I do is I take and I tie one knot in the back of the string. Then I bring the string out crisscross and around to the front, and then I do a double knot on the other side. So it's nice and secure. Then I take my scissors and I do another quick trim as close to the knot as possible. And then I just slide the beads up, and that knot gets hidden right behind the bead and you don't see it. And then to secure it so it stays in place, you take your little piece of ribbon that's provided, do a knot in there, and then just trim those at a slant, and this project is complete. Our final project is our bonus decor project. In this kit, I did a bonus decor pack. We've used the beads already, but we're going to decorate this little honey dipper in these little bee silhouettes. So you're going to go ahead and take the string that you had from the previous project. You're going to take a couple paint markers or paint, and you are going to go ahead and paint the little bees with just some foam daubers or small brushes. You're going to leave the honey dipper stick as is. You're not going to put any paint on it, but I wanted to wind a little string around the top so I could hang it from my tier tray. And so what I did here was I went ahead and put a little drop of glue all around the top of the stem there. And then I brought some of the string to wrap around behind that's going to be the loop on the top. You don't have to do a loop on the top. It also stands up on its own. I just wanted to have one just in case I wanted to hang it. And then just kind of keep gluing along the way. Then you're going to trim that part with the paper clip off and just make a knot with your excess kind of at the bottom of where all the string is. Tie it super tight, and then once you have a double knot, you're going to trim it off. And I glued the extra ends to the string to just kind of keep it out of the way, and then I pressed it down with that toothpick and the painter's tape, and so it would adhere, because if you get it on your fingers, it's going to stick your fingers to your project, and you don't want that. So that just kind of gave it a nice neat look. And then this string that was threaded through at the top, I just make a knot at that to make a loop. Again, this part is totally optional. You don't have to do anything to the honey dipper if you don't want. It's just an extra piece of decor. Then I wanted to glue my bees to the honey dipper, so I went ahead and took glue and put it at the very bottom of the tail of the bee, so that sits right on top of the honey dipper base. And then I pressed it down really hard and put glue in the middle, of course. And then I did the same thing with the black, a little bit at the bottom and a little bit up and down the middle, and that glued to the top of the yellow bee, and then the head of the bee rests on the string a little bit. And this project is complete. Well, we've done it. We put together all our projects, and now it's time for the final reveal. I'm going to show everything here, spread out, and then I'll stop the narration and you can look at it on a tiered tray. But remember, we had our Shiplap bee sign, we had our miniature honey pot, we had our beehive, and then we did our gnome, our garland, and our bonus project. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Remember, you can order this by going to the link in the description and making this kit yourself. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me in the comments, and I'd love to help you in any way that I can. But in the meantime, thanks for joining me, and don't forget to look for the loon.